tonight as the opioid crisis rages on. The healthcare system struggles to help people addicted to fentanyl. And Fairground security gets tougher as ex-organizers seek to keep things fun. Plus, the difference makeup can make. A Regina woman famous on TikTok changes more than her appearance.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It's Friday, August 4th. CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. Hello, and thank you for joining us. The opioid crisis is only getting worse in Saskatchewan. According to the provincial coroners service, there were 200 confirmed and just as many suspected drug deaths in the province last year. Addictions experts say the healthcare system isn't meeting the needs of people addicted to fentanyl. Here's the CBC's Laura Sharpaletti on what they're calling for.
It began with an Oxycontin prescription and ended with other opioids like fentanyl. Chantel Huell abused these drugs during her days as a gang member and a criminal. When she wanted to go to detox or treatment, the wait list could be a problem.
By the time it's my turn to get into that detox center, I'm too high to even care. I don't want to go anymore.
And even when she did go to detox and treatment centers in Regina multiple times, it never stuck. Addictions expert Dr. Peter Butt says the current system has too many roadblocks and limitations.
Trying to put together the right support so that over time, and this can take months if not years, people can put together a life worth living without using. We need a system that's very client-oriented, very client-responsive, that's integrated, that's holistic, and that's a challenge.
Butt says there needs to be more addictions counselors and more access to opioid agonist therapy programs. Those offer medication like Suboxone or methadone.
So typically an addiction counselor generally in mental health and addictions might have a caseload of 30 to 50 clients. There are some opioid agonist therapy programs where the ratio of counselor to client is 1 to 400. It's enormous, it's untenable.
The Minister of Mental Health and Addictions acknowledges there are problems. Everett Hindley says wait lists are unacceptable and says drug treatment programs don't always help people long term.
A lot of our system has been based on, over previous decades, the 28-day treatment plan based on alcohol recovery and detox, and knowing that while we still have people that are struggling with alcoholism, there's other things that people are dealing with around opioid addiction, which requires much more lengthier stays of treatment.
Huell finally got sober while federally incarcerated. There, she had access to detox, treatment, elders, spiritual guidance, and counseling.
I should not have had to have been incarcerated to access those services 24/7. Why are we not providing these services for people out here who want it?
The province says it's working aggressively to get 150 additional treatment spaces up and running. Meanwhile, Hindley says expanded treatment services are expected to be reflected in next year's budget. Laura Sharpaletti, CBC News, Regina.
If you've already made it to the Queen City X, you may have noticed getting through the gates is slower than usual. Staff are using handheld metal detectors and doing pat-downs to check for weapons. In Saskatoon, organizers are taking security a step further to try to prevent what happened last year. This was the scene after people were hit by bear spray at the fair. Police were called to the X 3 times for bear spray attacks. This year, organizers are installing walk-through metal detectors.
No, my pepper spray.
Pepper spray.
Oh, I forgot.
So now when patrons come to the X, they'll go through metal detectors. So they're a walk-through metal detector and then full bag searches. It's really an expanded program to most large events now have the walkthrough program, and so we're just kind of getting caught up with the game.
The event manager says people will also have to empty their bags to get on the grounds. The Saskatoon X gets underway on Tuesday. Canada's unemployment rate bumped up for the third straight month. It increased to 0.1% to 5.5% in July. 6,400 jobs were lost. Economists, though, had expected employment to go up. As Statistics Canada released the jobs numbers, one of Canada's big three telecom companies announced major cuts. TELUS says it plans to slash 6,000 jobs. The company is blaming regulatory changes and the overall economy. TELUS says it will be offering employees early retirement and buyouts. The StatsCan report showed job losses in two provinces, Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Employment decreased in this province by 5,700 jobs in July. It was the first time employment went down since March. Saskatchewan's unemployment rose to 5.1% last month, something the opposition NDP says is unacceptable.
They've lost nearly 6,000 jobs this month, have continued to lose jobs, have the worst job creation record over the entire time that this premier has been in office. And again, when we talk about population, yes, we are seeing an influx of people, but we are also seeing the largest outmigration in central and western Canada. People come here and they leave because of lack of opportunities.
The government wasn't immediately available to respond to job loss numbers. Saskatchewan's unemployment rate is still the third lowest among the provinces. It's also better than the national unemployment rate. The Saskatchewan government won't be getting any coin from SGI Canada. It's the first time in 12 years the property insurer hasn't been able to pay a dividend to the province. SGI Canada blames the shortfall on catastrophic weather events. Its annual report says there were 12 of those across the country last year. They resulted in nearly $81 million in claims. That's up nearly 50% from the previous fiscal year. The property insurance division still made nearly $25 million in profit, but that margin was too small to share with the province. The City of Regina is delivering compost bins to households starting tomorrow. Here's Alexander Kwan with what that means for you.
These green bins will soon start to be delivered throughout the city. It's all part of a new organic waste pickup service. And it's all meant to divert waste from the landfill and help the City of Regina meet its environmental goals. Every house that has garbage pickup will get one of these bins, 67,000 homes in total. Janet Aird from the city says it's not complicated.
Residents will be receiving their green cart, and zip tied to the back of it will be their kitchen catcher. The kitchen catcher is to be taken inside, and there's a bunch of information materials about the program in the kitchen catcher. And then this can be placed on your counter to collect your materials to take to your green cart for disposal.
So what can go inside these green bins? Think of it like scraping your plate. Meat, bones, oils, and greases can all go in here, as well as soiled paper products like napkins, cardboard, and paper towels. Once collected, the carts will be taken to composting facilities.
About 50% of your current garbage cart is organic material that can be diverted through the Green Cart program. So we need people to be sorting correctly in order to achieve those. So there's lots of education components that will follow the rollout of the cart.
One new thing to get used to, a new pay model. Currently, recycling is collected in blue carts and shows up on utility bills, while regular garbage collection in brown carts can be found on your property taxes. Starting in the new year, Regina's recycling, garbage collection, and organic waste collection will all be on your utility bill. Green bin pickup will change depending on the time of year, while starting in September, garbage will only get picked up every other week. If you're worried the bins will stink, city officials say they've received a limited number of odor-related complaints in their pilot program.
I think the thought of it was worse, and I mean, the garbage that's going in your green cart is currently in your garbage cart today.
It will take a month to deliver all the carts, and pickup service is set to begin in September. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders are polishing their game plan for Sunday's matchup against the Ottawa Red Blacks. They're looking to end a 3-game losing streak. They're up against a team that's been steadily improving, thanks in large part to rookie quarterback Dustin Crum. He has won 2 of his 4 starts with his throws and his runs. The dual threat quarterback will pose a problem for the Riders' defense.
Just you got to defend the whole field, and you got to defend every second. You know, he's a guy that can make you look awfully silly. I think he's done a lot of nice things for them, willed their team to victory, really, that first game. And yeah, he's dangerous. He's definitely got me up at night a little bit, thinking about ways we can hopefully slow him down.
At the end of the day, you can, but at the end of the day, you got to be careful also, because you just can't go out there being greedy. You got to attack every game the way you do at practice. That's why I'm going to assert this game. At the end of the day, we focusing on us. It ain't too much what he's doing. As long as we do what we got to do, it'll be all right.
Mason Fine will get the start for the Green and White on Sunday. The showdown starts at 5 p.m. at Mosaic Stadium. Farmers are beginning harvest in some parts of Saskatchewan, but what they're combining generally isn't in good shape. Nearly 90% of cropland is rated short or very short of moisture. Grasshopper damage also continues to take a toll. We'll be back after the break. A Regina woman has become famous on TikTok for drastically changing her appearance with makeup, but she's also been criticized for being deceptive. Louise Big Eagle sat down with her to get the real story.
Going in with the Too Faced Born This Way concealer.
Jessie Volk is a makeup content creator in Regina. She has 1.2 million followers on TikTok alone.
I'm actually in the middle of a news interview right now. You can see we're filming.
At 28 years old, Volk still struggles with acne. She started playing with makeup to cover her breakouts, and she discovered she could transform herself.
I need someone who needs me.
Then after she became a single mother, living in poverty, it became a lifeline.
After I had a child, I kind of was lost myself. And so to begin kind of finding myself again, I started doing makeup at home, and I was like, let me start filming this and posting it online and see what happens. And yeah, that's kind of where it all began.
She shares her skincare routine and beauty tips.
When I started, I kind of tried to make my content geared towards who I thought people wanted me to be, or what I thought they wanted to see. And I didn't see much traction with that. And once I started to be so authentically myself was when I really started to grow and build a community.
As a public figure, she now has to deal with hateful comments and even inaccurate news stories about herself. The Daily Mail dubbed her TikTok's biggest catfish.
I think people learned a word and kind of ran with it. The definition of catfish is not what people seem to think it is. Catfishing is using a false identity. It's still me at the end of the day, just a little bit of an elevated version. The first couple times I was like, oh, that's so annoying. I hate that for myself. But yeah, they've never actually reached out for comment. Try that again. For moisturizer, I'm using the Origins Ginseng Glow Boosting Gel Moisturizer.
She says she ignores the haters and focuses on her full-time job as an influencer. Brands like MAC Cosmetics, Dior, NARS, and Kylie Cosmetics send her makeup to try out in videos. As much as she transforms herself on video,
NARS Soft Matte Cream Concealer to cover up all my spots.
Becoming an influencer has also changed her life. Louise Big Eagle, CBC News, Regina.
This weather update is brought to you by Crestview Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, proud member of the Capital Automotive Group.
Weather specialist Ethan Williams joins us now, or at least someone who looks like Ethan. Ethan, is that you?
Am I the real deal? You'll never know. Maybe. Yes, I am. It's really me. It's really me. And we are dealing with much cooler temperatures in some parts of the province than we were yesterday, for sure. And in fact, temperatures have come down. When you look at daytime highs yesterday compared to today, some 10 degrees in places like Saskatoon and Lucky Lake, close to that in places like Swift Current and Watrous. And a lot of those places actually ended up setting temperature records yesterday. Saskatoon hit 37.4, breaking your old record by over a degree. Lucky Lake smashing your old record by nearly 4 degrees. A place like Elbow elbow, tying the record there over 37. And for a lot of us, this was the first day this month where we didn't hit 30. And if you look at a place like Regina, we usually see 30-plus degree temperatures about 6 times in the month of August. We've already had 3 so far this month, and really we're about halfway to our average there. But if you look at last year, we actually had 8 days in the month of August, so we still have a ways to go here. Saskatoon, there's about 5.5 days where we see 30-plus degree days. We've had 2 so far this year. Last year we had 10, and keep in mind, a lot of those were also at the end of the month and continued as we headed into September. So still lots of summer here to deal with, even though we're heading into August. But temperatures today somewhat more comfortable. Upper 20s for a lot of us, mid 20s even now as you go a bit north and west in south and central Saskatchewan. And with high pressure beginning to move in, we're not only going to see those more seasonal temperatures, we're also going to be seeing a lot of sunshine over this long weekend, as well as this low pressure area begins to move out of northern Saskatchewan, finally moving the rain out of there. Tomorrow, maybe just some pop-up showers and thunderstorms in the north, but sunny for south and central. And that theme just continues for us and for the north heading into Sunday, aside from a little system heading through the far northeast. Looks to be mostly sunny for the most part. In terms of our temperatures, large ridging in the jet stream off to our west, bringing some intense heat to British Columbia, but that really won't move our way all that much over these next few days, and that ridge starts to break down a little bit, and the jet stream right over the province. So for south and central, keeping those seasonal temperatures heading into the beginning of next week. For the north, cooling down a little bit as you are now a bit to the north of that jet stream where those cooler temperatures are. We have seen a bit of smoke and haze today, especially in southern Saskatchewan. We're looking for that smoke to move out. And really, even in northern Saskatchewan, it looks like those heavy plumes of smoke that we've been seeing bringing those air quality advisories, which are still in place, are likely, hopefully, going to be ending as we head through the rest of the long weekend here. Now, for Regina, for the next few days here, as I mentioned, sunshine, a big theme. For the Rider game on Sunday, looking at beautiful conditions then, mid-20s for the holiday. Monday, of course, a nice day. Really great weekend to get outside and not be too hot or too rainy. For the rest of the week, temperatures getting a little bit cooler, and maybe, hopefully, we get some rain heading into Thursday of next week. Saskatoon, potentially a little bit unsettled Monday, but we're not looking at a big severe thunderstorm risk there. And then a little on the cool side, Natasha, and maybe some rain. Not that too many of us will be complaining about that.
Definitely not. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
One of the most remote places in the British Isles is about to enter the space age. The picturesque island in the North Sea is the most northernly inhabited spot in the UK. There are about 700 residents, and it's now home to the Saskatchewan spaceport. The facility is built on the site of an old Royal Air Force radar station. It will be used to launch small rockets to put satellites into orbit. The project is headed by a husband and wife team who bought the property 15 years ago. They're now waiting to get a launch license. The first liftoff is expected by the end of the year. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. A group of medical researchers is calling for an increase in the age when body checking is allowed in hockey. They want the sport's governing body, Hockey Canada, to implement a standard age of 15 across the country.
Literature is clear that how important sport is for mental, physical, emotional development in kids. But we're balancing that to the inherent risk of sports. And if there's something that we can do to mitigate the risk of sport, I think we owe it to the kids to provide that for them.
The University of Ottawa did a review of research into sports-related concussions and body checking. It shows the earlier body checking is allowed, the more injuries there are, and there's a link between early head injuries and how severe concussions are later in life. For many hockey fans, checking is a key part of the game. Some say being exposed to body checking early better prepares players to withstand injuries later in life. However, the review found that eliminating body checking could decrease concussion rates in Canada by 20 to 90% across all age groups. Were you put on hold the last time you called a company for help? Did a recording say they were experiencing higher than normal call volumes? As Madeline Cummings tells us, the call center industry is changing and operators might not be standing by.
Milena Santoro teaches her business students to put customers first.
We're happy you called. There's a bit of a wait.
So when it took 10 days to reach a major airline on the phone this spring, she was frustrated.
I certainly will not use the same airline again because of that experience.
She's noticed more companies encouraging people to solve problems online, but says automated tools can only go so far.
People want to speak with someone. They want an answer. They want to be heard.
Companies are shrinking call centers through outsourcing and using more automated services like chatbots, says this expert.
They figure if we can underinvest in customer service in order to offer lower prices, as well as meet some profit expectations on our shareholders.
He says agents' jobs have gotten harder because they're taking longer, more complicated calls, while chatbots take the easy ones. And frustration is growing in public sector call centers too. The Canada Revenue Agency says the average call handling time has doubled in the past 3 years, rising from 8 to 16 minutes, despite millions of dollars in government investment to speed the process up. In addition to hiring more temporary staff, the government has been expanding online tools, including a chat service. So where does this leave Canadians who are sick of spending so much time on the phone? Well, just because a company tells you you're in for a long wait doesn't mean it will happen.
Please hold to keep your place in line.
That number is almost always set high so that they can delight you when you pick up sooner.
Jeff Galino analyzes customer service calls for a living. He says fed-up Canadians should complain when customer service doesn't measure up.
Every company gives you an offer for a survey and nobody takes them.
Because survey response rates are so low, he says, companies pay a lot of attention to the few responses they do receive. Madeline Cummings, CBC News, Edmonton.
A new study has found ocean temperatures have hit an all-time high, and scientists are warning about the terrible implications for the planet. An EU climate change service says that this week, the average daily sea surface temperature beat a record set in 2016. Oceans are a critical climate regulator because they soak up heat. They also produce half of the Earth's oxygen. Warmer waters mean less capacity to absorb CO2. That means more gases stay in the atmosphere. Warmer waters can also speed up the melting of glaciers, affect marine life, and disrupt food chains. And Ethan is back for one last look at the weather before we head into our long weekend.
Yeah, and it's going to be a beautiful long weekend, Natasha. Looking for temperatures at about 18 tomorrow in Regina. Winds out of the north around 30 or so, pushing the rest of that forest fire haze hopefully out of the way before leading to sunny skies. A nice mid-20s tomorrow. Looking for those north winds picking up just a little bit tomorrow. Should be in the 40 kilometer an hour range at most. Sunny in Saskatoon as well, looking at 16 degrees. Winds a little bit on the lighter side heading through the afternoon. Yes, more sunshine. We're looking for 24 sunny conditions for the Rider game on Sunday. Looking for about the same as this as well. No real precipitation or strong winds in the way. You know, I have to show you this one, this photo from Susan. She's got a real eye and can take some spectacular photos. And she grabbed this shot of some sunflowers near Regina. This, of course, the time of year, Natasha, you can see a lot of these in the wild, and they're, of course, always very beautiful.
Sounds great. I might have to go on a road trip this weekend.
Yes, spots. Take some photos.
I will too. Thanks, Ethan.
You bet.
Well, that's it for us tonight. For news anytime, head to cbc.ca/sask, or you can subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel. Ethan and I are back with more local news at 11. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.